Arizona. This is 12 News.
Well, good afternoon and thanks for watching 12 News at noon. I'm Matt Morrow.
And I'm Stacia Nucken.
We begin this afternoon with breaking news and our continuing coverage of a deadly shooting on the campus of Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. This afternoon, one student is dead, 3 more are hurt and in the hospital. You're looking at live pictures of the scene where the shooting happened up in Flagstaff.
Student Colin Broff was killed in that shooting. 3 other victims are currently being treated at Flagstaff Medical Center. They have been identified as Nicholas Prato, Kyle Zientek, and Nicholas Peering.
Well, let's set the scene for you this afternoon. This all happened about 1:20 this morning outside of Mountain View Hall in the far northeast end of campus, where a fight broke out between 2 groups of students. At some point, police say one of those students they identify as Stephen Jones, a freshman just 18 years old, pulled out a gun.
We have confirmed that this is the shooting suspect, Stephen Jones, who attended Mountain Ridge High School in Glendale until April of 2014.
Jones is expected to make his first court appearance in just over an hour.
Now we have live team coverage coming to you from Flagstaff. We want to jump straight in to Nico Santos at the courthouse. Nico, what can you tell us?
Nico is outside.
Flagstaff. The latest information coming out of here, the Coconina County Courthouse. This is where we're expecting to see the shooting suspect, 18-year-old Stephen Jones, to have his initial appearance here in Justice Court. He'll learn the charges he faces for today's incident. We learned that his initial appearance is set for 1:15 this afternoon. Jones, at this time, still being processed at jail. Now, the deadly shooting today really has shaken NAU to the core. Some of the students telling us they're just devastated this happened, saying that it shouldn't have to happen on a university campus where everyone should feel safe.
It's like, this is like the safest place, you know, and like to think that something like this would happen to people that, you know, are a really big part of our community. It's just, it like breaks my heart.
Once again, Jones was taken into custody at 1:22 a.m. right after the shooting. He's still going through the booking process. And again, his initial appearance here at 1:15 will be on standby to bring you the information as it becomes available. We're live in Flagstaff. Nico Santos, 12 News.
All right, Nico, thank you.
This afternoon, that is new, we have learned that one of the students who was shot and hurt is from the Valley. Crystal Henderson is live in Glendale, where he went to high school. Crystal?
Yes, the Deer Valley Unified School District has confirmed that one of the victims, Kyle Zientek, did go to Mountain Ridge High School, which is behind me here in Glendale, and graduated in May 2013. We caught up with one of his friends who still goes to that school. Nathan Sulin actually knew him before high school because they used to wrestle together. Sulin says Zientek was all about hanging out with his friends and wrestling.
Me and Kyle would wrestle together. He was a fun-loving guy. He was very nice, very kind to everyone. Everyone loved him, and I just know him from wrestling. We were on the wrestling team together.
We also learned from the school district that the suspected shooter also attended school here at Mountain Ridge High School, but only for a short time, between January and April of 2014. Now, Sulin says he knew of the suspect, but he never spoke with him at school before. In the meantime, he says the latest he's heard of his friend today is that he is still in critical condition. Live in Glendale, Crystal Henderson, 12 News.
Crystal, thank you.
Well, this has been an emotional morning for everyone on campus. As you can imagine, students woke up early to the shocking news that one of their fellow students had been killed and 3 more shot.
That's where they were anxiously awaiting information about what had happened. Here are more images from Flagstaff of the shooting, all as the investigation continues. This looks like it is just outside of Mountain View Hall where that shooting happened. Friends are coming together right there. A lot of very emotional moments. Students still shell-shocked about what happened up there today.
And more images. This memorial for the victims and their families is on campus, and friends and fellow students gathering this morning to offer their support through prayer.
Our continuing coverage continues now with Charlie Edstey. She is based out of Flagstaff. She's been up there all morning long talking with these students. And Charlie, I imagine they're still trying to make sense of all this.
Yeah, Matt, I'm at the scene right now on the northeast end of campus, and investigators are working to try and figure out what led up to this early morning shooting. Now, what we know right now is that a party of some sort was happening in this area that's heavily occupied by students involved in fraternities and sororities. The students I've spoken to who live around here say they heard several gunshots this morning, followed by a lot of people running. Investigators have been searching a red Mustang in the parking lot of Mountain View Hall, as well as going in and out of an apartment that neighbors say is the home of the deceased victim. The Delta Chi house, which is a few blocks away from here, president, who said they're mourning right now and obviously in a state of shock, and students everywhere on campus have been very emotional today. I've seen several crying and hugging, and just again a real sense of shock that this is happening on their campus.
Nick and I think 2 other kids are in the hospital currently, and obviously the other kid was killed. So wow.
Is Nick going to be okay? Did the text say?
It sounds like he'll be fine. I mean, it wasn't too many details. I guess they just read it on the news, like the names, and then it's to the name of the killer as well.
Just knowing that one of our students has fallen to violence is just heartrending, and I feel physically ill just going into campus, not knowing the details, and I feel so bad for everyone in the campus community and the local community right now.
And the Flagstaff community is a very small one, and people here say they move and live here because they want to get away from this kind of violence. But sadly, school shootings have become more and more common, even happening right here in Flagstaff. Live in Flagstaff, Charlie Edsity, 12 News.
Charlie, thank you very much. Now, adding to the confusion and panic on campus, the NAU emergency alert system did not work properly. The school released a statement admitting to that error.
It said in part an error during the deployment of the NAU alert system resulted in limited distribution of the initial alerts, which were sent out as a precautionary measure to notify campus of the situation. A final all-clear message was sent to the entire campus, that at 2:52 a.m. NAU says the investigation is ongoing and they'll release further updates as needed.
Well, the 3 surviving victims were taken to the hospital, and our Brian West joins us live now at Flagstaff Medical Center with an update. Brian, what do you know?
Hi, Station. Matt, we are still waiting to hear word on the conditions of all 3 victims in the shooting today. We're here, as you said, at Flagstaff Medical Center. All we know is Northern Arizona University reported that all victims were sent here. Kyle Zientek, Nicholas Prado, and Nicholas Pyring. We have no idea right now on their condition. Of the 3, the hospital is directing us to Northern Arizona University, saying that they will release a statement. That statement could come as early, officials are saying, as noon. There have been no law enforcement out here, and we haven't seen the families come and go, but we're going to stay out here and make sure we update you with the very latest. Again, that statement should be coming any minute now. Stacia, Matt.
Brian West there live in Flagstaff, continuing our team coverage.
And as you can imagine, a lot of reaction coming in on social media, not just from Flagstaff in Arizona and the country, but all around the world. Christina Wagner sending in that note there with the victims' names announced. My thoughts are with the parents. Last week, we all spent family weekend at NAU. Lots of prayers, and that's really echoing the sentiment that we're hearing from other universities and from people, whether they have a connection to the Lumberjacks and Arizona, or they're just extremely heartbroken at the news of yet another shooting at a school in this country.
Well, happening today, President Obama will visit Roseburg, Oregon, the site of last week's tragic mass shooting. The president will meet privately with families of the shooting victims. 9 people were killed, 9 others wounded when a gunman opened fire at Umpqua Community College. The White House says the president has no plans to make remarks about ways to curb gun violence while there.
And now back dealing with the shooting that happened this morning. Arizona's top lawmakers, they learned of that shooting very early this morning. Many of them awoken with the news. We got statements from several of them. Here's what they are saying this afternoon and what they said this morning. Senator John McCain saying in a statement, and I quote, "My thoughts and prayers are with families of the person who was killed and the 3 others who were wounded in the horrific shooting on the campus of Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff early this morning. I appreciate the efforts of all state and local law enforcement officials, first responders, and school administrators, and continue to pray for the recovery of those who were hurt, as well as those in the NAU community who have been impacted by this terrible tragedy."
And State Representative Ann Kirkpatrick posted on her Facebook page, heartbroken by news of a fatal shooting on NAU's campus. More information should be available shortly, and NAU has posted resources at the link below. Meanwhile, the families and all of Flagstaff are in my thoughts today. And we talked with a congresswoman just about an hour ago. She's in D.C. and will be back in Arizona tonight. During our conversation, she talked about the issue of what she calls sensible gun control.
The whole idea that you solve problems by shooting somebody when you have a disagreement, you know, we've got to start having a national conversation about that.
So where does that conversation start and where does it go?
Well, we've been talking a lot about it ever since Congresswoman Giffords was shot and the shooting in Tucson. The conversation has changed now, and people are saying we've got to find some common sense way to respect the Second Amendment, but also to protect our communities. And there seems to be a growing consensus around strengthening background checks, closing the loopholes for illegal gun trafficking, and also putting substantial resources into our mental health system.
And Representative Kirkpatrick says she does not know when that conversation will actually take place in Congress. Obviously, a lot going on there this week. 12:10 now. We're going to be closely monitoring this story for you all day long. You can stay up to date anytime with the 12 News app and at 12news.com.
We'll be right back.